I'm nervous.
Okay.
Just smile and wave.
Okay, I believe we are live. Let me check real quick. But if we are live, then hello. Welcome to the first meeting of our new board. This is June 11th, 2023. I'm checking on this right now. We are live. We are, in fact, live. I am Anthony J. Porter. I am the chair, re-elected chair, going for the second term. One more year, as Wanda would say. And I'm going to get ideas from everyone else. Rowan, you're the first person I see. I need your full name, your state, and your title if you have any.
Okay. My name's Rowan Tipping. I'm in the state of Illinois, and I'm the Swarm Care Manager of the United States Pirate Party.
Excellent. That must feel good to say. Michael, you're up next.
All right. Hi, my name is Michael Cadwallader. I am in New Jersey, trying to get a ball rolling for a state party in New Jersey. Fingers crossed soon. And I am the recently elected scribe for the upcoming year for the Pirate Party.
So every officer has an opinion on whether or not they want to use the official names or the piratey names for their position.
Or secretary.
I personally
known as
call myself
secretary.
chair.
Yeah.
I see you're choosing scribe. You're choosing the piratey path.
Yeah, I mean it's shorter. You know, it's 5 words. It's one
5 letters.
one syllable. That's the word.
Scribe is 5 words.
5 words. God.
Oh, did I say 5 letters?
It's also it's. May I interject? It's 6 letters.
Sure. I'm off to a great start.
Well, it's a good thing you're not the auditor or the treasurer, because math is not involved.
Right.
I would hope that Eric knows how many letters is an auditor. I will ask him when we get to him.
Regardless,
you're next.
it's less syllables. That's the main draw, so it's easier for me to say.
All right, V. Seeing that V might be AFK, Wanda, your name, your state, any titles that you may have.
Wanda from Florida with no titles at all.
All right, that works. Next is Drew.
Drew Bingaman. I am the Pennsylvania captain, and my newly elected title is Vice. And I love that word.
Not vice captain, just vice.
Just Vice. Just
no
Vice.
relation to the magazine company or
No. But Vice. I like Vice. Vice is fun.
Didn't they go bankrupt?
Did they?
They were something was like they closed their news, I think, didn't they? I don't know.
They filed for
Video.
bankruptcy or
Right.
something?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not kept up with them. I just know of the name.
All right, and Eric, can I have your full name, your state, and your title, and how many letters is in your title?
Eric, I am the newly elected auditor, aka bean counter, if we're going to use the pirate terminology, and 7 letters. Feel free to double check.
I think he's right.
It
I'm
is on the
double-check-
screen.
For Eric, it's the same amount of syllables. So take your pick.
Wait. What?
Are you
two
okay,
words were we
Rowan?
comparing in
Yep.
syllable count?
What's with the? Is my computer bugging out or? Oh, okay. Nope. There's Drew now. Cool. Sorry. Okay.
Wait, Michael, you said something about syllables. I want to
Oh
give you a
yeah.
chance
For
to...
auditor and bean counter have this are both 3 syllables. So take your pick, Eric. Whichever.
Yeah. I was worried for a second that you were saying an auditor and Eric had the same amount of syllables.
no.
I was starting to get really worried.
We made a mistake.
And I don't even drink.
So, Michael, are you saying that you're choosing scribe because it's less syllables and saves you energy while speaking?
It saves it. Yes.
Take
That's
your
And
efficient.
time.
it gives me
Take
more
your
or
time.
less chances to screw up my title.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for those introductions. I'm enjoying the energy in the room that we currently have. We are going to move on to reports. We will start with committee reports because I believe there's only one, but we'll see. V, you have an outreach report.
Yes. We have a lot of open items in outreach, like 20 something that I emailed to the scribe and vice or vice chair. Um I said it, vice chair. Um
It's fine.
the
I'm not
latest
offended.
the latest thing is we started we're doing a mix of web and print design. So we started a brochure for printing a brochure, a print design for a brochure for just informational session or meetings. Yeah, that's the last thing we've done. We have a GitHub. If everybody has a GitHub account to see the project board, you don't need to do any coding. You just to look at the project board.
All right, thank you, V. And I do want to check: is anyone here to, or can anyone report on behalf of the platform or IT committees? I'll take that as a no. I do believe Mitch, our other Illinois representative, will be here later, so we may be able to ask him about platform then. I do not know. We are going to move on to officer reports. Do not worry, I am not expecting you to have anything, but if you do have something relating to a question or something about your day-to-day functioning, tell me, because we will talk about it this meeting. Rowan, do you have a swarm care report?
Yeah, so I'll start with the fact that I set up a, I don't know if people know what this is, but Calendly. So it's a way for people to do meetings with me. So I can kind of time it because I know, like, I'm not available 24/7. So I made this so people can say if they want to talk, they can really just press a button and it'll be put in my calendar and their calendar. It's kind of like a streamlined way to meet with me, I guess. As well as trying to talk to the state party's Twitter accounts to see if they need any, if they who's running them first of all in those state parties, as well as if they need any assistance, and also trying to communicate, what type of standards we might want to have. And I think that's gonna be a bigger conversation, but just more so having a conversation of what we want to expect from the state party Twitters and what we don't expect as well. So we'd be like, oh, hey, let's try to, because it needs to be guidelines if we're going to be, if we want to be taken seriously, we got to have like expectations out of our state party Twitters. Of course, I trust the state party Twitters. There's not been anything too crazy, but at the same time, I think it's important to communicate that. So that's the thing I've been really working on as of late. Not finished completely yet, but I'm in progress. But yeah, that's the two things I've been doing.
All right, thank you, Rowan. Michael, do you have any scribe reporting?
Not so much reports. I guess I can report though that Yari and I have gotten in touch, and probably not throughout this week since I'll be on vacation this week, but hopefully with the weeks and just available time to follow, we'll keep more in touch to just kind of go over some logistical things and other generic things, just to kind of go over more of my roles and priorities as a scribe, kind of like a passing of the torch, so to speak. So look forward to hopefully getting to do that within like a couple of weeks. And I started not Google Doc, a Word document as a rough minutes sort of document thingy, just to have for today. So, yeah.
All right.
And
Thank you.
I should also note.
Drew,
Sorry.
do you have a vice captain report?
Never mind.
Oh, yes.
Sorry. I should also note. I hope.
No, you can.
Huh?
Sorry, there might be some kind of delay. You can
There might
continue.
be. Yeah. Sorry.
You had another thought that
Oh yeah.
you wanted to.
Cool. Yeah. So I hope to also use Etherpad in the near future, since I know that's a collaborative website. That was the other thing I wanted to mention. Yeah. All right, go on, Drew.
All right. Yes. Now, Drew, vice captain or vice chair or vice report.
I don't have anything to report other than my email is working. So the emails that are apparently supposed to get forwarded to me are getting forwarded to me. So that's a little bit of an IT report, I guess.
Excellent. I love when our email forwards work because they have historically not always done so. All right, Eric, again, not expecting anything, but do you have an auditor report?
Nothing to report at this time.
All right, thank you. Those are all of the reports, and by that I mean all 2 or 3 of the reports. Any further discussion or debate on any of these? Okay, hearing none, I will move on. We do not have any stated items of old or new business, so my idea for this meeting is to actually have a collaborative hour, so I guess 30 to 40 minutes, where we can actively have a conversation about what everyone's roles are and ask questions if any of the rest of us can answer any questions that anyone has. Yeah, exactly. A bit of a work jam. I think I want to start by asking, especially our new board, primarily the people who don't attend PNC very often, because Drew has served as the Pennsylvania rep for a while. If there are just start with any general questions about responsibilities that they've thought about, or just I'm opening up the floor. Does okay. It's okay if we don't have anything, because I do have an idea about how to start. I want to go ahead and just walk everybody through. Hey, there's also CryptPad. That's a good option. Walk everybody through what our meeting schedule is going to look like every week, since we're on integral officer positions. So at the start of every week, or this is primarily going to be discerned usually at the end of the last meeting, it's just kind of immediately happens. We put a motion in like 2 years ago now, maybe something like that, that every other meeting would be a Jitsi meeting, because traditionally the actual where we were supposed to have meetings is on IRC. That is basically enshrined into our bylaws. I think now we've changed the wording so that it's a little bit less more open, but initially our bylaws said we are going to meet on IRC. We passed a motion to now vote on Jitsi every other week. Sometimes that gets mixed up. Like, I decided that we should vote on Jitsi, or I decided that we should meet on Jitsi this week, since we just had our officer election, and I wanted to talk to you all and have a work jam. But usually the pattern that we're going to see is, unless it was otherwise unspecified, we're alternating every other week. IRC is our chat platform where we have open meetings where anyone can participate. and then Jitsi are these more closed meetings that are streamed to YouTube, and it's kind of less work for everybody and a little bit more fun. We alternate so people can provide public comment on the IRC meetings while also allowing us to be up to date and have YouTube meetings, because everybody has YouTube meetings nowadays. So it's a compromise for our values of transparency. And again, unless it is otherwise stated, we alternate every other week. So if we just had a Jitsi meeting, and if we have a meeting next week and we might not have a few people, it will be an IRC meeting. Now, if we miss a meeting, that is one time where we may have to decide, because there's nothing we haven't determined any exact rule set for how to deal with that. So if we don't have an IRC meeting next week, we will decide whether or not we have an IRC or Jitsi meeting. Usually this call is made by the chair and the secretary having a conversation, but more often than not, we also put it up to vote. Is everyone clear with this part of the process?
Sure.
Okay, excellent. So preparing for a meeting in the hours beforehand, or I mean, sometimes even into Saturday, the standard thing to do for committees is for them to turn in their reports to the secretary. This does not always happen, but we're trying to get better at it. So, Michael, this is where you come in. You should familiarize yourself with all the committee chairs and make sure to ask around Saturday, is there anything to report? And if so, could you give me a brief write-up for the wiki? And it doesn't have to be exactly what they're going to end up saying on IRC or on YouTube. It just has to be so you have the summary so you can go ahead and slot it into the agenda and everyone can see it. And also committee chairs. I guess V is the only one around right now, but you're already good at it. So we'll talk to the other committee chairs too. We all need to get in the habit of doing that. So that is something that usually takes place Saturday evening or Sunday morning. Something else that the chair, swarm care, and the secretary tend to do, I guess the vice chair will also probably be part of it now, but we didn't have a vice chair before, is just wrangling people, getting a list of who will and won't be in attendance. This is something that usually tends to happen Sunday evening at the latest. It's better to do it Sunday morning. This is when people should probably notify if they have some kind of other last-minute commitment. This allows us to judge if we will have a quorum, what kind of quorum we have, allow us to make last-minute calls about what should and shouldn't be on the agenda. If someone wanted to speak on some certain thing, but something came up, obviously, we want to provide ourselves wiggle room to fix that. The agenda, I guess that's another important thing to say. Again, Saturday evening, Sunday morning is when the agenda usually gets fixed. All agenda items that are new business should be turned into the secretary by Sunday morning, afternoon. Better yet Saturday evening, but that does not always happen. So we'll have our old business from last week, things that were tabled, and then we'll be getting our list of new business ready over the weekend. If we have something else, like some kind of a public comment that someone wants to come on and do, usually we want to prepare that even earlier. We kind of want to know that before the weekend. I'm trying to think and see if there's anything else sort of at this pre-meeting step that anyone needs to be aware of. Drew, can you think of anything?
I cannot right now. I mean, I think probably our biggest thing is just knowing who's going to be here. Try and wrangling people and either getting a yes or a no. I'm going to make it or I'm not. That would be a priority for me. So, but you covered that. So.
Yeah. Ideally, attendance is something that we're trying to get better at. So ideally, I do think it would be good for us to maybe make a push, since we have both an additional person that can help do that, and also just a new board overall. It would be my suggestion to Drew, Rowan, Michael, that we really try to get that list in by Saturday evening and ask individual states, okay, what representative is expected to come, if any representative at all, because we've had some confusion with that I think we might be able to rectify if we start asking early. So we should probably reach out to each individual state, and try and see who will be attending.
If I may ask, what would be like an easy way to get in touch with each state? And also, I assume this is
I think
each state that is
that's
active,
all
right?
of the stuff. Oh, yes?
Hmm.
Oh, did you say something?
Oh, yeah. I assume that's also all of like the states that are active, or
Yes,
would it be
yes.
any state? Okay.
Official states, observers are a little bit loose, but I mean, if we have an observer who's definitely, really on the path to statehood, something like
Yeah.
Texas or Florida, where there are multiple on the path to statehood, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
We have multiple representatives, and there's a real conscious effort, and they're not just parties trying to form; they're active observer participants. Then, yes, it would be good to reach out to them as well.
Cool.
During the meeting, call to
Yeah.
order, 9 Eastern. That pretty much never changes. We walk through like we did earlier. We have our reports. It goes to the chair after our IDs. Goes to the chair. Yes, actively trying to get affiliation. It goes to the chair, and the chair can sort of decide whether or not we do officer or committee reports first. But we do both at the end of the day. And sometimes, if we know that there's something else going on, like a campaign, or like we know that a observer wants to report something, then we can also ask for a report from them and there, but those aren't required. And during the discussion and comments section, where I ask, is there anything else to report? If I've forgotten one of those non-necessary reports, this is usually when they would chime in and give us their report if I did not already call on them. Then I ask, we formalize, and then we get to old business. Old business gets done. We get to new business. We're technically supposed to follow Roberts. We barely do at this point. Who cares about Roberts? And then we adjourn. Usually around 10. It can run longer. Quorum. Usually over 50% of all active state members. We have something about observer members. We have not been following that because it's hard to really tell what is an observer member and what's just someone coming on to try and start a state party, right? But we're technically supposed to follow that. For something like Florida or Texas, it might be a good idea to start calling them for quorum, but we'd have to figure out what the line is, because in our bylaws we are technically supposed to. But the way I've been sharing the entire time is just I've just been counting state members, because we haven't had good, honest observer members like this in a while, actually. So this is a good sign. Technically, the bylaws say that 50% of the people that count for quorum have to be here to run a meeting. I've been sharing it as 51%. So when we had 6 state parties, instead of saying we have 3 parties, we're good, I waited for 4. In the future, when we have an even number, I personally will do the same thing. We can start with 50%. I think you count the number of meetings observers attend, and I don't think that's enshrined in the bylaws, but that might not be a bad idea. But again, I usually count it as 51% because it feels very unfair for not a majority of people to attend the meeting. I don't want to get anything past anybody if there's not actually majority consent behind whatever the motion is. I think that's everything during the meeting that I have off the top of my head. Next is after the meeting. Hey, Mitch, I'm giving everybody a walkthrough on everything that's supposed to be happening before, during, and after the meeting, since we have a brand new board. Next is after the meeting. Scribe. This is where you come in. And this is where you do a lot of your work and beg someone to help you if you need it. You will have your meeting notes. First, the main thing that comes to mind is just the general record of everything that happened. If you're on YouTube, it's super easy. The YouTube video is there. You don't have to worry about it. If you're on IRC, what you're going to want to do is you're just going to want to copy paste the IRC text chat to the page on the wiki. And we'll give you a whole wiki tutorial if Yari hasn't already, so you can do all of this. What we do for the IRC text chat is to determine what is on and off record. We start at when I say calling meeting to order, whatever time it is, and we end when I say meeting is adjourned. whatever time it is. Those are our boundaries for what is considered on the record, what is going on the wiki. If we have some sort of planned or major after meeting casual discussion, then that can also go on the wiki, but usually it would be something where you or I ask if we want to include that for the sake of transparency. If it's just some casual chit chat after the meeting, we don't usually include that. Everything else that will be going on the wiki by the secretary are things that are not dependent on what the medium is, and that is things like who is in attendance. You want a record of the officers who is representing each state and what observer members were there. There will be a little attendance slot on our sort of wiki template that we have that Yari has been using, where you can just put everybody in by what they are. If they're an officer, if they're a state representative, if they're an observer, if they're just hanging out, etc. Then you will put, like I said, a summary of everything, a summary of every report, mainly. And then, I don't know if this is something Yari has been doing. You'll want a summary of every, a loose summary of every decision that has been made, or links to relevant documents relating to that decision. Things like that. Just enough info. Usually these are things, if you're on YouTube, it's things that are posted on the text chat. You know, stuff like, oh, I was talking about this link during this time. That can be a lot of work. So again, Yari has been a bit loose with it, but when it scratches your head to include something like that, that's usually a good sign that you should and you can. Or if someone makes a big motion, makes a, 50-page Congress bill or something, which thankfully no one has done yet. But, if someone just writes a couple paragraphs about their motion, you're going to want to get the text from them and put that on the wiki. Or link the Etherpad, which should probably be turned into something that's a little more closed by that point so someone can edit it, but, then from there, you're just going to want to put some voting records there on each motion, and I believe that is everything that should be done with the wiki. And again, Yari hasn't even always had time to do all of this, so do not fault yourself if there's a learning curve here. We understand. It's a lot, and this is why you should probably get an assistant secretary. I think that is everything that happens. Unless, Mitch, you think I've forgotten something, or Drew, since you've been here the whole time, if you think I've forgotten something.
I don't think you forgot anything, although I'm driving, so I'll be honest with you, I don't know how much I was able to catch, but it sounded good. Also, for the record, since Rowan, I assume, has been Illinois' voting member since he was the only one here, so unless he sacrifices it, I'll just say Mitch DeVillo, Chicagoland Pirate Party.
Mitch has been freed. He's now repping Chicagoland. Wow, he has divorced himself from Southern Illinois.
For the record,
Mitch.
I don't think you missed anything. I think I can't imagine. I can't think of anything to add. So.
All right, thank you, Drew. I also know that was a lot, and that's why we're doing this over YouTube, so all of you can rewind later, especially Michael, because secretary is as difficult of a job as the chair. Sorry, Michael.
It's all good.
Mitch, was there a platform report?
I am not the platform chair.
Oh, yeah. Shoot, I forgot about that. But this is also a good learning opportunity. V, do you have a platform report?
I can since I was or did see what's going on in platform and IT, I can give like an update, but not a report.
Then you can give us a platform update.
Okay, so platform is working on a lot of the not redefining or rehashing the approved platform, but trying to get a cohesive kind of like collection of everything that's been said. And I guess since the beginning of the US Pirate Party, because we went back and we looked at the wiki. We found some dead links. We found some links that are just not. Yeah. Should I pause or yeah? I'll keep going.
No, yeah, continue, and we will get to Mitch,
Right.
unless this is immediately pressing. Okay, I'll take that as a no. Have you continue.
Okay, great. So we made a list of the information that's on the wiki and the information that's on the website, just to have a cohesive front. And then also there's a lot of not a lot of old business, but just kind of like pending platform planks. Like the last one that we were looking at was the LVT, a land value tax and privacy of it. And that's the update on what we last did in platform. Um, I can also give an update to the last thing we did in IT as well.
We'll let Mitch speak first. Mitch, what was on your mind?
You can go ahead. I just wanted to mention that we did, and it just might have gotten lost in the shuffle of the conference, but the DMV Pirates did send in for the platform position for review. I believe it was the tax reform plank. I could be wrong on that. It may have been voting reform, but there was a plank sent in on behalf of the platform committee for our review. So I know isn't on the agenda, but that did get sent in. If V, I apologize if you mentioned it because again I'm driving. But if we wanted to look at that, that is technically for our review.
Mitch, if you could forward all of that stuff, or just make sure it gets in Michael's hands, then we will put it on the agenda for next time. All right, V, you had an IT committee report.
Update, an update, not a report. Yes. So, IT. The last things that IT has done is updated the about section for the new board, as well as given permissions to myself and Dawson to create blog posts. Kind of coming from outreach, as well as updating. The website has to be updated regularly in terms of like the WordPress plugins and stuff. So all of that was done, and there's more work going on in between, like an email list, and using the forwarding emails.
All right, thank you, V. This was all actually a good learning experience because we got to handle what happens when someone comes in a bit late. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get their ID. If I don't remember that, if I'm busy or if we're in the middle of something, please, any other officer, try to interrupt what's going on and get their ID. It is very important that we do a very quick aside to just get their ID and go back to what we're talking about. If they've brought a report, if they're an officer, if they're an officer or a committee person, then I'm going to wait until we're done with our whatever item of business we're currently on, and then we're going to get their report. Whenever someone joins, we are going to want to check and see what that does to the status of the quorum and who's a voting member. For example, Mitch needed to make note of the fact that Rowan is still the voting member for Illinois, because technically Mitch would supersede Rowan because he's the primary rep. He's at the top of Illinois' list. Again, this is kind of obvious, but this is also the same if someone leaves. And they're gone for more than just a couple minutes, more than an internet bug or something. We need to check and make sure what our quorum is like and who's now voting for them in their absence. Great. We're doing good. This feels comprehensive. I'm good at this. I feel like we're all right. I'm going to ask again though. Are we all understanding our our work cycles here. Is there anything that you've seen your successor do or your predecessor do that you don't quite understand? And I guess that's mostly a question for Rowan and Michael, because for Drew and Eric, their positions were vacant.
I mean, I have a few questions, but I think that I could ask Mitch directly about those rather than mention the whole meeting, because I don't think it's anything too particularly important to the whole national committee, because I do have specific questions, nothing in general, no in general questions about what I'm supposed to do in my role.
I mean, if it's anything that you think you could share that someone else could have any input on, please do, because it might I don't know, it might be pertinent to the secretary trade-off as well.
Okay. Well, I mean, for my the thing is now, in relation to the platform committee, I realized that Mitch was previously more involved in that role, and I'm trying to, I guess I more so wonder if that was also something I should be doing that haven't been as much.
I mean, naturally, please attend and be involved in everything you're interested in, but also, we shouldn't all be everywhere. There needs to be some kind of division of labor. What I would say is, as Swarm Care, you will want to, when you have extra time to spend on pirate stuff, you will want to prioritize things like platform, because that is pertinent to your role as kind of like the HR person. But it's all your personal prioritization, right? Think about how much time you can spend on extra pirate stuff this week, and then think about, okay, who needs me? What's necessary to my role? And Mitch, you have your hand up, so I will let you talk about that.
I just wanted to mention that me working platform and me working Swarm Care, those were two separate jobs. I just happen to be doing both of them. I'm not saying that you couldn't step up to both, or that anyone couldn't step up into more than one job. But the point of getting the full board was so that we wouldn't have people, wearing hats on hats. We were trying to spread out the responsibilities. So no one should feel compelled to, be the one to make sure that the platform committee's running. It's just that the what's it called? The platform committee, if it's got someone running, it doesn't necessarily need to be the Swarm Care manager, is all I'm trying to say. You don't have to think that you should be taking on that role just because you have a role that I once had. It's just multiple. They're just multiple roles I once had.
Okay.
All right, Rowan.
Oh yeah.
If you have anything else to add.
I mean, I'm gonna make sure, just to clarify, I'm gonna make sure to attend as many committee meetings as I can. But I just meant some more in an organization sense, because I'm not gonna pretend I'm gonna be able to have make platform what do you call it, agendas every week, but I'll try to be as involved as I can, of course. But I think also that there's a bigger point to be just about finding more committee chairs, because I think V and their role in outreach has shown that many people are able to do great things with the committees, and I think there's probably other people who would like to pick up that mantle in relation to the platform committee, if there isn't already someone that I should know about that's picking up that mantle.
I think I don't know if he has the time or the interest, but I think Dawson would probably do a very good job leading the platform committee.
Noted.
Yes, Joe is doing platform, but Joe also is always looking for help. Let's see, anything else? Chair-ish. Joe and Mitch were kind of pseudo co-chairs. I think Joe's the chair on paper. A lot of people have helped to keep platform committee afloat, because the multiple hats thing that we are trying to resolve. Michael, what did you and Yari talk about? Are there any questions that someone else might be able to add?
Yeah,
answer?
I mean, we kind of went over the basics, and to be fair, it was also we went over some stuff on as I was driving home, so I wasn't really fully there during our conversation, our brief conversation before today's meeting. But we kind of went over some of the basics and some of the stuff that you're talking about now. Like getting like records of like people who were there, and we briefly talked about minutes and how to run the minutes, and what I would need to do with that, and that um, like for Jitsi meetings, really not much work is needed there, since um, the YouTube video is already there, but I'm still like doing something on the side, just brief, just to kind of get in the habit. And then we had also mentioned with Etherpad as an option to like do minutes, and we had also mentioned about the wiki and getting access to the wiki, and I think Yari said hopefully access to the wiki, at least for me, should be soon. So yeah.
All right, thank you. And
Yeah,
I've talked
stuff
to
like
Yari about. I've talked to Yari about this before, and I think you two have worked on it a little bit. But just another thing that we should probably do, or make sure that we've done, is make sure that every officer, and all 2 or 3 state representatives are reliably getting emails from PNC at US Pirates, and it tests that to absolutely make sure, because I know we've had issues with that in the past, and since we have a lot of new people, I want us to triple check that and make sure that everybody who is part of the PNC is getting the emails. But I think you two have already been on that. All right. I can't think of anything. I mean, Eric, have you been in touch with Joe at all, the treasurer?
No, not as of yet.
Okay. I think that should be your only what's the word Yari would use? Struggling without them right now.
Wait.
Action item.
Action plan.
Yeah, action item.
Action
item. Or yes, I think it's action item. That should be your only action item, is getting in touch with Joe, so you have access to all the documents, so you can audit them. And Joe needs to make a report to the federal finance people, I believe, 4 times a year. So at the very least, you have to audit about 4 times a year. But I believe you mentioned you would have when you were running, to talk to Joe about every week and check through everything every week. I think that would be a great idea. Just all you need to do your role, to settle into your role, is to check with Joe. Drew, I'd assume you're basically set, but I mean, and anything else you need from anybody?
I don't think so. I think probably when we get kind of running on all cylinders, we'll just see who needs some help getting where they need to be. But I think we're heading in the right direction right now, because like I said, I got the vice chair email that was sent earlier that V sent, so that was my first email that came through on that. So no, I think we're moving in the right direction. So
all right. We are near time, so if we have any further questions, we can talk about that, or I can hear a motion to adjourn.
I'll give you the motion to adjourn.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second from Illinois or Indiana?
Indiana seconds.
I'll take that as a
Second,
second
third,
from both of them.
11sies.
All right. Yeah. All right. I'm assuming I know this is. I know how this is going to go, but I have to ask. All in favor of adjourning, just give me an aye.
Aye.
And Indiana, I just need one more aye.
Aye.
All right, there we go. Thank you, everybody, for attending this meeting of the PNC. Let's see. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Thank you all for attending this meeting of the PNC. We will be back next week in some form. It might be over Jitsi. It might be over IRC. No, it should be over IRC. Thank you, everybody, and vote Pirate.